Welcome back, everyone, to the Gaming Alchemy channel. Today we have finally made it to my final installment of my top 25 games of all time, counting down numbers 5 to 1. Make sure you go back and watch any of the other videos that you've missed and see where your favorite game landed, or maybe didn't land at all, because maybe I haven't played it, or maybe it's just not in my top games. But with that, let's get on with my number 5.
And my number 5 favorite board game of all time is Star Wars Rebellion by Fantasy Flight Games. This came out in 2016 and I bought it pretty well that year, maybe the next year. So I've had this for quite a while already. It's got over 150 plastic minis, which we'll take a quick peek at here. Here's the Rebel side. You got your Mon Calamari cruisers. You got your Corvettes, your U-Wings. You got your Y-Wings, your X-Wings. All your little soldier dudes. And there's all the different characters you can be. And we've got the Imperial side. These don't come painted, by the way. I painted these all myself. You got 3 potential Death Stars you can bring out. This one's a Death Star in construction. Like, so cool. Like, Super Star Destroyers even. And I added lights to all of them to make them, look even cooler. And you got your Star Destroyers, your AT-ATs. You got your TIE Strikers, your TIE Fighters. You've got extra tanks and ships and stuff from the Rise of the Empire expansion. There's all your Stormtroopers. And this game is so intense. It adds so much tension, especially when you're the rebels and those Imperials are getting close and you're getting a little freaked out. But both sides are so much fun in their own way because it's a 2-player game and you're either going to play as the rebels or the Imperials. Imperials just have this massive fleet, as you can see, and they're just basically trying to go around and find where the rebel base is hidden, and they will win when they destroy that base. And the rebels are just trying to outlast. So they're just trying to screw with the Imperials, mess with all their stuff, and they're just trying to wait it out. And there's a track over here on the side of the board. And so the game starts out with these 2 tokens this far apart, and every round this is going to move up 1. And every time the rebels complete certain objectives, this is going to move down so many spaces. And when the 2 meet, the rebels have won. And the Empire is just trying to destroy them, basically, and find their rebel base. But that's not even the end, because the rebels can actually move their rebel base if they think the Imperials are getting too close. And they can do a quick little maneuver and move to another base. And it's so much fun to like throw off the Imperials to make them think, oh, they must be over here because they got so much forces over here, but I'm actually way over here. And you don't actually have to follow the actual story from the movies. Like, you can have completely different things happen. You can blow up Kashyyyk instead of Alderaan, and you can blow up more than one planet. You can potentially get 2 Star Destroyers. This is just, you don't actually use this one. It's just kind of a placeholder for where your Death Star is gonna be. But you can have 2 Death Stars going around the map, blowing things up. I compare this a lot to War of the Ring. It has a similar feel. War of the Ring is like Lord of the Rings universe in a box. This is the Star Wars universe in a box. I love these kind of games. They're epic, they're long, but time just flies by when you're playing them, and just incredibly fun to play. Just pulls me into the theme, like every game on this top 10 for sure, and so many of the games on my list, because I'm a thematic gamer. I like to feel like I'm doing what I'm doing on the board. I like to feel like I'm actually doing that. And this game does that in spades. There's a couple things. Sometimes the fighting can go a little long because you can have some major epic battles, but it's still fun. Like, it's still awesome, especially when you're the Imperials just destroying the Rebels. But when you're the Rebels and you get a win in a fight, that's huge. And that can totally change the game. The setup can also be long. It took me quite a while just to set all this up and have, well, I set all the armies up in rows and stuff. So obviously that is going to take longer. But yeah, the setup is a bit long, like all these games, and the game can be long. It's only a 2-player game, but it can easily go 3-4 hours. But who cares? It's totally worth it. I would gladly set it up if somebody wants to play it with me. And it is just amazing. And if you love Star Wars, if you love these giant epic games, there's not too many epic games like this that you can play 2 players. There's more coming out every day, though, now. You got Dune, War for Arrakis. You've got the Battle of Five Armies. War of the Ring. You got Rebellion. There's more and more of these coming out all the time. These 2-player, huge, epic games. But then there's also the Eclipses and the Twilight Imperiums that you can have multiple players. But I love that you can do this with 2 players, and it works so well. And it's just a lot of fun. So check this one out if you haven't already. Star Wars Rebellion, my number 5 game of all time. And in 2022, this was actually my number 1 game of all time. And it's just dropped a little bit for me. There's 4 other games that I like better. And you'll find out which ones those are in a minute. And it was my 9th favorite game of all time in 2018. So it went from 9 to 1 to 5. So it's kind of just hanging around in the top 10. But it's not going anywhere. So don't worry, everybody. And number 4 on my list is Nemesis. And I do have almost all the expansions for this. I've got the 3 alien races, got the Aftermath expansion. And this is basically Aliens, the board game, but with the extra aliens that get added, it also becomes like Dead Space, the board game. And this expansion here kind of adds Cthulhu-esque almost aliens, kind of that make you go mad. And so the 3 alien races play very, very differently. Basically, you were on a ship and you wake up in cryosleep and you forget the layout of the ship or what's going on. All you hear is the screams of other people who have had a much worse fate than you so far. And you're basically trying to find your way around the ship. Everyone has goals they're trying to complete. So everyone will have a personal goal and a corporate goal. And when the first intruder shows up in the game, you have to choose between one of those. And it's a lot of fun. And you can play this competitively. So there's a potential that someone may be a traitor, or you can play it cooperatively where you're all trying to complete your goals together. It has a lot of things I love. It has exploration. So these are all turned over at the start of the game. And as you explore them, they get turned over. And there's going to be rooms you're going to have to go to. And it's got dice for combat, which can always screw you over, of course, like any game that has dice. But if you build a flamethrower, you can hit off everything except a miss, with the potential of spreading flames all over the ship, but it's awesome. I love getting flamethrowers for that reason. Or if you can find a shotgun, the shotgun will also hit on everything except a miss. But it's a lot of fun. We got Space Kitty. This is the first player marker all painted up. This came with the Aftermath expansion, I believe, but super cute and awesome. But so much theme in this game. It really feels like you're on this derelict ship, just like in the Aliens movie. Something is hunting you and you are just trying to kill it and make it out alive. And that is why it is number 4. And it was number 5 in 2022. It wasn't on the list in 2018 because I didn't own it. And I think that was the year it just came out. But that is my number 4 game of all time, Nemesis. And my number 3 game of all time is Anachrony. This is straight up my favorite full-on Euro game.
It's worker placement, but it also has this engine building part of it. It's got workers that are unique. So you have your scientists, your engineers, administrators, and geniuses. And the geniuses can go in any spot. Some spots only want an engineer. Some spots you can't even go unless you have a certain one. Some you'll get a bonus if you place a certain worker there. And it's got this time travel mechanic where you're basically taking a loan from yourself from the future, but you have the option to pay that back for victory points. But you need to have a way to go back into time to pay those back. And the theme of this game is just really awesome. It just pulls me in because, I love theme in games, and so many of the mechanisms you do tie into the theme so well. And the art is amazing. The production is really great. This has so many expansions, and they're all pretty good. And you can kind of add, the ones you want, the ones you like the best. They're kind of like modular expansions. You can pick and play the ones you want to play with. And honestly, playing with all of it is almost slightly too overwhelming. If you play with like 2 or 3 of them, that seems to be like, a manageable level of anachrony. Maybe not, there's probably a lot of people out there who love playing with every single expansion all the time. But I find if you, mix them up a bit, it kind of adds the replayability and variety. This game, you could play it endlessly, and you wouldn't really ever get sick of it. It's got asymmetric factions. The only thing I wish is that it had more factions to choose from, because you end up playing the same ones quite a bit. I mean, you do get better at playing with them, but some games like Andromeda's Edge has like 16 or 18 factions. I know this game is like different from that, and it might be harder to have that many factions in this game, but it'd be nice to have like a couple more. I know some of the expansions, or one of them for sure, added at least one more faction, but it'd be nice to see a little bit more. And then obviously, learning this game, setting it up is a bit of a chore, but like all the other games on this list, it's totally worth it. And you are thinking so much on your turn about what you need to do next, and there are so many options. You need that downtime from the other players' turns to figure out exactly what you're going to do. And it is a bit tactical because you will likely have someone steal the spot where you want to go, and so you're going to have to pivot a little bit. But there's always so many options. There's always something you can do, especially with the expansions. With the base game, it was a little bit harder to do what you wanted maybe, but the base game is still really good. And this has a solo mode as well, so you can play it solo. And it's such a meaty, thinky, highly thematic, amazing artwork and production kind of game. And if you like Euro games, you are going to love Anachrony, and it'll be worth the effort that you are going to put into it for sure. So that is my number 3 game of all time, Anachrony. And in 2022, Anachrony was 3rd overall. And in 2018, it was number 4. So it stayed right around the same spot for the last 7 years or so. So it's a solid one in my top 10. And my number 2 game of all time is Mage Knight by Vlaada Chvátil. I've had this game for well over a decade, almost 15 years. And this was my number 1 game for many, many, many years. And it is still number 2. There is a game that has surpassed it, which you will find out soon. But this game is complex. It's fiddly. But that's what makes it so great and so enjoyable. So what is this game? Well, as you can see by this amazing looking map, I love the art in this game. It just, especially for the time it came out, it just pulls you into the theme and what you're doing, and it just feels like you're this mage knight exploring the land and just going dungeon diving and killing monsters and getting fame. That's what this game is about. You're just exploring open world, do whatever you want to get the most fame, which is how you are going to progress in the game. So as you go down these different rows, you are going to be able to upgrade and progress your character in different ways. And this game has reputation, so if you kill certain enemies, your reputation is going to go up. But if you try to take over keeps and mage towers, you're going to go down in reputation, but you're going to get better rewards. There's spells you can get for defeating the mage towers. There's these awesome artifacts that are super powerful. So you get these when you pillage a monastery, which really affects your reputation horribly. I think you go down 3 reputation, but you get one of these amazing artifacts that can help you. These are advanced actions that you're going to get as you level up your character. So everyone's going to start with the same basic set of 14 cards that all look like this, and 2 of your cards, so a total deck size of 16, are unique to your specific character, and they're all going to be a little bit different. And it makes, it gives your character a little flavor that's a little bit different, but not horribly different. You all start out basically pretty much the same, and as you level up, you're going to be getting more cards like this into your deck. You're going to be able to recruit units, which are going to help you accomplish all the different goals you have in the game. And they're going to go here, and as you progress through the game, you're going to be able to get more units. And eventually, once these core tiles come out, which are a different colored back, you're going to be able to recruit the amazing gold level units, which are just rocking. And yeah, this is just some of the best character progression in any game, which is crazy that it's as old as it is, and it does so many awesome things that games were not doing back then. Like, you have a day and a night phase. You get to pick a tactic card at the beginning of every round, which kind of affects how you're going to play that day, or gives you kind of a cool special ability. There's so much variety in just the enemy types, and there's so many different kinds, and you will sit there contemplating, man, if I go to this mage tower, so these are going to populate on the board like this. If I go to the mage tower, I can beat him. I can beat every enemy there except that one. As long as I don't draw that one enemy, I'll be fine. And of course, you draw that one enemy, and you got to figure out, okay, how am I going to do this? Because this is kind of an efficiency puzzle Euro game, really. There's some luck with the card draw, but really it's about being the most efficient. But it doesn't feel like an efficiency puzzle game. It just feels like you're having so much fun just, beating on enemies, and you really feel like a mage knight going around in this town or this land and just trying to get, rid the land of evil and get the most fame. This is the enemies from the expansion, the Lost Legion expansion. And I would say, if you're going to get any of the expansions, get the Lost Legion, because it adds the most stuff. But I say just get all the expansions. They're amazing. And there's a new one coming out this year. But this is like an example of how many enemies there are. And all their stats are on these little tokens. And man, it just feels so satisfying when you figure out how you can beat this particular enemy. And then here's the all the base enemies that come with the base game. Like, there's huge variety. And that's not even counting all the other expansions that add more stuff. And this is kind of the complexity I'm talking about. Like, these are the different statuses in the game that you can get or enemies can get. It's just so cool. There's not just attack. There's fire attack, there's ice attack, cold fire attack, summon attack.
like there's just so many cool things. Siege attack, and this game's really cool in that, you know, you can play your cards. Sometimes you don't get the hand drawn that you need to do what you want to do, but you got to work with it. That's like the whole point of this game. And the other cool thing about this game is you can play any card sideways to get one of anything. So one attack, one move, one influence, one block. So, and it's just awesome. Like, love the art. Just love everything about this game. Yeah, it takes a long time to learn, takes a long time to play, but I have so much fun playing it, and everyone I've played this with just absolutely loves it. And it's so much fun. You can play co-op too, if you don't want to play competitively, which is actually really a lot of fun. They've added different enemies like this guy, Volker, and he's like an enemy you are all fighting against, and you don't want him to get to this starting location here. And the only thing I don't love is the minis. But hey, they were painted, so I didn't have to paint them. And, you know, for the time, they're not bad. They're not the greatest, but they're not bad. They're no Oathsworn minis. But I can always use different minis while I'm playing this game too, you know. But yeah, this is an incredibly deep, crunchy, thinky, amazing game. It plays great solo. So if you're a solo gamer, you can play true solo with this, which is awesome. I really, really recommend it. It's my #1 solo game of all time, but not my #1 game of all time. But yes, solo, this is amazing. Works great at 2 as well. Any more than 2, it almost gets a little unwieldy and can take so incredibly long. So much downtime between turns that you might want to play another game on the side. You know what I mean? You can play 2 games at once while you're playing this. But so much fun. My #2 game of all time. This game has remained my #2 game back in 2022 and in 2018. So it stayed solidly at #2 for the last, 7 years? And before that, it was my #1 because there was no other game that came close. So that is Mage Knight, my #2 game of all time. And let's get on to my #1 game of all time. And my #1 board game of all time is War of the Ring by Ares Games. Of course, this is the 2nd edition, and it is so amazing. This is my favorite IP of all time, Lord of the Rings, and no other Lord of the Rings game really does it as good as War of the Ring. There's lots of really great Lord of the Rings games out there, but War of the Ring is the pinnacle in my opinion. And the base production on this game is pretty good. Like, it's okay. But my production on this game is really good. So I actually made all of these mountains myself out of clay. So this is just clay, and I just I didn't have I don't have a 3D printer, so I needed to I was like, well, how hard could it be, I don't have to buy a 3D printer. I mean, I kind of still want one really bad, but but this was just a project of mine, and I was like, I wonder if I could make my own mountains for War of the Ring. And so I tried it, and they turned out really good. So I made them out of clay, and then I painted them all up myself. Got the lava going on. We even got the steps up to Mount Doom. You can actually see through the hole or through the cave entrance, and you can look inside, and there's even like, the little place where you throw the ring down into the lava. And then I painted the same symbols that are on the Crack of Doom here. Painted them so Frodo and Sam can climb up the mountain every time, and it's makes it even more thematic. And then I made all the mountain pieces around out of clay as well. We've got Minas Tirith over here, Kingdom of Men. And then as we move up into Rohan, you know, it's a little more north, so the mountains are starting to get a little snow-peaked. And there's Rivendell. So Sam and Frodo start in Rivendell, and they got to make their way all the way over to Mount Doom. And that is one of the ways that the Free Peoples can win. So it's kind of a hidden movement system of Frodo and Sam. They are trying to find a path to Mount Doom, and they can take whatever path they want, really. And Sauron player will only know where they were last seen at certain times in the game. And it's so thematic. It's so awesome. And then they're trying, basically the Free Peoples are just trying to give Frodo and Sam enough time to get there, because they don't really have that much of a chance. They can win the game by getting 4 victory points, the Free Peoples, and the Sauron player can win if they get to 10. But it is much easier for the Sauron player to get to 10 than it is for the Free Peoples to get to 4. As you can see by the vast armies that the Sauron player has on his side. And I mean, the Free People's army is actually pretty decently sized as well. But the Sauron player's minions and armies keep respawning over and over. So even if they lose them, they can just bring them back. Whereas the Free Peoples, once they've lost their armies, they don't get them back ever. So they have to be pretty careful on which wars and fights they are going to take part in. Look at these cool elephants. Like, these all just turned out really good. I colored all the bases, so each army is still represented by its own color, and painted them all up, and they just look amazing. Like, the board presence of this game is just off the charts awesome. I'll just quickly show you some of these other guys. Here's Gandalf the White, all painted up. We got Saruman, of course. We got the Balrog, because I do have 2 out of the 3 expansions for this game, and one of them came with the Balrog. And then we've got Galadriel, we got Elrond, those came in the expansion as well. We got the Witch King, we got all of your heroes. Here's normal Gandalf. The Fellowship of the Ring, basically right there. And they're going to be assisting Frodo and Sam on their travels. And this game has, the 2 sides play very differently, 2-player game. The Sauron player, kind of like in Star Wars Rebellion, is a lot more powerful, and the Free Peoples are definitely the underdogs, and they are trying to basically give Frodo and Sam enough time to make it to Mount Doom. But they can also try to win militarily. But yes, like I said, very tough. It's based on this dice system. So each side is gonna have dice. So the Free Peoples only start with 4 dice, but they look gorgeous. The Shadow player starts with 7 dice. So that's another way they have an advantage. They can do way more, but they also allocate so many dice to the hunt, which is going to help them find Frodo and Sam. The expansions also add other dice. So the Lords of Middle-earth expansion, you're going to get a dice for Gandalf, Elrond, and Galadriel once they're in play. And you're going to potentially be able to roll more dice. So I love that expansion. I always like playing with that one for sure. The Warriors of Middle-earth, this guy right here. It's not as good as Lords of Middle Earth. It's still good. It adds like some more factions that basically help you help both sides. They each get 3 more factions to help more on the battle side of things. Playing with both of them can get kind of unwieldy as far as like how much is going on. There's a lot going on. But I always play with Lords of Middle Earth, and then I'll throw in Warriors of Middle Earth for some variety when I need it. And then there is a new one, Kings of Middle Earth, I believe. I haven't got that one yet. I kind of want to play this more just with the 2 expansions I have, see how much I need another expansion. I know that sounds like blasphemy to a lot of people, but of course we do. Of course we need more stuff, right? But sometimes that just makes it so unwieldy that you don't even want to pull it out because there's so much going on. There's so much you have to relearn. And then the way the game is kind of also played is with these multi-use cards. So you can use the top ability with a dice to be able to do usually something fairly powerful. But then in battles, you can choose to use the bottom portion to help you win a battle. So it's this awesome choice of, man, I really want this card, but I could use this right now to help me win this battle. And both sides have cards like this. The free peoples are just blue. But these things, you're going to want to do all these top options. But man, sometimes you just really need to do the bottom option to help you win a battle. And I love that tension that it offers. And then there's the whole war political system. You can't just bring each nation to war because the free peoples, they're all not at war at the start of the game. So you have to convince them to join the fight, which is so thematic too. Like Frodo and Sam can do that as they travel to cities. They can kind of activate the different factions, or you can also spend dice. Certain dice will allow you to do that. And then you move them down eventually. If they get attacked, they will also activate and then move one farther down. And eventually they will all be at war. And then you can attack with everyone. It just adds another like layer of depth to this game. And so incredibly great. And like I said, the win conditions, Frodo and Sam got to make it to Mount Doom, or they got to get 4 victory points militarily. And then the Sauron player can either win by corrupting Frodo and Sam if they have this corruption track here. If the corruption track ever gets to 12, then they are going to lose as well. And yeah, like I said about the victory points, so the Shadow player gets victory points, and the Free Peoples get victory points by taking over strongholds and towns and stuff, which will give you victory points. And when a stronghold is being attacked, they are going to go into siege, and then they're actually going to be able to defend fairly well. They actually have the advantage on defending. So the attacking player can only roll 6s to attack while they're under siege. And so it gets tougher. So it's not easy to take over a stronghold. So it takes a lot of resources and a lot of dice. And the other thing I should mention too is, you know, the dice, you're going to roll them every turn, and based on the symbols that are on them is going to determine what you're going to be able to do. So you're not always going to get to do the thing you want to do, but you got to kind of work with it. Every dice gives you usually multiple things you can do with that symbol. You usually have a couple different choices, so you're not just stuck with one thing necessarily. And I found these great reference sheets on Board Game Geek under the War of the Rings forums tab. And so this is a great little chart, helps you with setup. So it shows you a map, shows you how much units to set up in each region. I've got for the expansions, 1-page reference sheets for what everything can do. So these are all the different factions that Warriors of Middle Earth will give you, and it gives you a little breakdown. And this is the whole flow of the game, how each phase works. You know, gives you which factions are which symbols, tells you what you can do with each card, and tells you about the hunt. So when Sauron is hunting you, there's a whole phase about that. And here's a Lords of Middle Earth reference sheet as well. And here's a second page to that for all the lesser minions. So yeah, there is a lot going on in this game. Definitely a bit to take in, to learn, and to set up. Obviously, like, look at this thing. The setup was really long, but it is amazing. And I usually am able to leave it set up and play it a few times. It's fun to play it with your friend and then switch sides and then see if you can win with the other side. Out of all my plays, usually the Sauron player wins by corrupting Frodo and Sam before they get up the ring. But the last time we played, I was able to win as the Free Peoples, as Frodo and Sam made it to the top and were able to throw that nasty old ring into the lava of Mount Doom. And so great. Such a great game. And it's just so thematic. Just time just does not exist when you're playing this game. I know I've said that before with like Mage Knight and stuff. And same is true here. Like, you're just having so much fun. You're so into what you're doing. And if you're a Lord of the Rings fan at all, like, this is a no-brainer. They also made a Dune game based on the same rules. They changed some things and streamlined some things, made it a little less complicated. I do not own that one. I would love to be able to have that one. But honestly, I love this theme more than Dune, so I would probably just prefer to play this anyway. But that game also looks really fun. I also have the Battle of Five Armies, which is based on the same system. It's just a little smaller, and it's based off The Hobbit and the final battle of the Five Armies, obviously. And that one is also a lot of fun. I do prefer this one more, obviously, because that one was not on my top 25 games of all time. But that one is definitely up there too. It would probably be number 26. But this one is better for sure. And the experience I get out of this is just so much more rich and deep, and it's got more elements to it, and it is more complicated though. So playing the Battle of Five Armies isn't as intense, but that one is also a lot of fun as well if you like the system. And yeah, that is my number one game of all time, War of the Ring. Let me know in the comments below what your favorite game of all time is. And in 2022, this was my 7th overall favorite game. And in 2018, it was my 6th favorite overall game. So it has shot up to number 1. It's been in my top 10 for, I would say, about 10 years. And as I played it more and more, it just kept rising. And it had to be number 1, as I get just so much enjoyment out of this game. And we will see you in the next video. A little quick zoom up of all those armies before we go and Mount Doom.
Thanks again, everyone, for watching that video and for watching the whole series of my top 25 games of all time. Hopefully you enjoyed them. Hopefully they were entertaining, and be on the lookout for my next video. Like and subscribe as usual, and we will see you in the next one. Bye for now.